Des from Aro-Tarot here, and it's a chilly day, pretty much because the furnace stopped working. We're having someone fix it like right now. So, you know, wear a sweater, do a tarot tag. I just saw this one. I don't follow everyone, but when I do find tags, it's like, woo, follow on both my YouTubes, because that's just how I roll. There's one other one that I thought about doing too, but anyway, so I was, just looking to see what the new videos were, and I saw that nobody here was doing a response, a VR to MsTracyTwo's new tarot tag video, which is the Aro-Tarot tag. And of course I watched the tag video, and I was like, ooh, I'm so doing this. So I'm doing it. Actually, with the whole ladder and Maslow and stuff, like Maslow, I can't, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes I have issue talking. I actually recognized that name because I remember I actually learned about the ladder, and I did recognize the ladder too. I learned about the ladder and him in psychology, which I took in high school. It was my sophomore year, so that was age 15 to 16. And that was a fun class. I love that class. I love psychology. It's so interesting to think about. And I've taken sociology and what is it? It's one like sociology and psychology, but it's like both of them with like a little bit extra. I took that already. I took those in college, and now I've got one more week left for my current classes, which was communications, which I'm taking for a credit, and world geography, which I'm taking for a credit. And I'm finishing those up. I've got like one more final project to do for communications, and it's this week, the last week, and then I don't think I'm getting a week off this time. Pretty sure not. So then the following week, what classes am I doing? World mythology. Yes. But then also introduction to psychology. I wanted to start taking some psychology classes. No, I'm not like a psychology major or anything like that. I'm majoring in game art and development. But I just really like psychology, so I wanted to get into the kind of like the serial killers, criminals kind of psychology, which is like I'll end up doing just because I find this stuff fascinating. And then I also wanted to do the gender study psychology stuff, because like, and even like I think I'm doing, am I doing a writing one too? I don't know, I'm taking like 2 gender ones because like, I'm agender. I want to take the gender ones. Also, one of them in the description said transgendered people, which is incorrect, just saying. But yeah, so I'm going to be taking another psychology class, so of course I'm going to want to participate in the tag. But anyway, this one is actually kind of, I had to sit here with like my list of what decks I own, which is actually on my Tumblr. I just keep adding them to my Tumblr. First it was like, oh, I'll probably have like 10 decks, Yeah. It's 44, just tarot, and I have the 45th one ordered. I have to keep it on my board to remember how many decks I have, so I don't have to keep counting. But like, I had the list out, and I'm like, so I'm not really doing a single deck per, because I don't really want to. The only one I'm doing a single deck for is actually the first one, and I have like all my decks kind of stacked here. Like I went ahead and just stacked them on my altar because why not? Like, they're tarot decks, it's fine. And they're gonna get moved back into my my altar's actually on top of my tarot deck storage, so. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start before I just keep talking. So the first level is the basic needs, and so it's the deck that gives you the basic needs. And that one was like the first one I pulled out. Also, yeah, there we go. Oh, don't fall! Don't fall! Everything's falling. So mean. So I was trying to think of what deck gives me the basic needs. And then I was like looking at the list, and I'm like, you know what? It would be this one, and it's the Steampunk Tarot for me, which this was my third tarot deck, and it was pretty much the deck that helped me learn, because the first one was the Justice League Tarot, my faves, but I didn't come with a booklet. Then later for, I just had the internet, and then later for Christmas I got like a book on tarot, which I didn't really use much, but I also got the Shadowscapes, and like that one kind of helped, but I was still like confused. And then it was the Steampunk Tarot, which is pretty Rider-Waite-Smith, you know, imagery-wise, it's pretty close. I don't have a Rider-Waite-Smith, like, Rider-Waite-Smith, I don't have a copy of it. Not yet. I keep kind of meaning to get the Centennial one, but there's a lot of other decks I'd just rather get. Not that I don't like the artwork, I've grown on it, it's just, yeah, there's other decks I like more. But this one is basically, to what some people would have the Rider-Waite-Smith, this would be my Rider-Waite-Smith. But it's the Steampunk Tarot. And, you know, it's just so nice. So nice. I get it. It's pretty to the point. And I would probably use it for the more basic needs. Also, like, if maybe that's a question or a spread I'm not familiar with, it would probably be one of the decks that I would end up using because it's easy to read with, so I would make sure that I get the information I need, you know. There would be no issue of getting too much information. So there's that question and that deck. And the next one I decided to do 3 decks. It's really 2, but then I kind of added a third one because it was making me think of home, so yeah. Level 2 is Safety, and it's what deck gives you the home sweet home vibe. And like right off the bat, I'm already thinking everything's gonna fall even more now. I just happened to I pulled all the decks out in order and then stacked them. So all the ones I need to grab are on the bottom. Like the first deck that I instantly thought of is, of course, the Justice League Tarot, which I always gotta mention in a video. Like, I love this deck. It's my favorite. It's my first one. And, of course, like, it's got superheroes. It makes me think, like, I read comics, although I need some catching up to do on, like, some of them. I've got them, I just haven't read them, except for the Hellblazer ones. I'm completely caught up with those ones. But, you know, like, and just, when I was a kid, I watched Batman the Animated Series reruns, like, all the time on Cartoon Network. Was it Cartoon Network? No. That was 4Kids? I know they played it on 4Kids, but for some reason I always associate it with Cartoon Network. Even though I know they played it on 4Kids, which I didn't learn until later, which is kind of weird. But there was always reruns. Unless Cartoon Network, I don't even know, man. I just know 4Kids played it, but I always think it's Cartoon Network for some reason. But anyway, there was always reruns of it, and even though, like, I'm born in 95, and the show started in, like, what was it, 92? It's 91 or 92. I think, like, the new ones, I think the new ones were, like, more of, like, when I was, like, born kind of thing. But they always played reruns of it, and it's my favorite television show. So obviously, like, that really that influenced my sense of humor. I mean, like, I still think of the one joke that Robin makes during Night of the Ninja is really funny, where he saves Batman, and Batman doesn't say anything. And so Robin just goes, "Thanks for saving my bacon, Robin." "Oh, no problemo, Batman," and then just walks away. I just think it's funny. Like, Dick Grayson's my favorite comic book character. So, like, this deck, like, it got me into tarot because the Knight of Cups is Nightwing, so, like, you know. But, you know, it's got the superheroes, it's got Nightwing, so, like, it makes me think of, like, when I was younger, but then also now, and it's just, yeah, you know. I always gotta mention that joke because literally, like, that's, like, one of the lines that I just, like, can just say, you know. Although, literally, Robin's Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2, I can pretty much, like, watching it, I've watched it so many times, both parts, that if you put them on, I can pretty much just start mouthing, like, everything that's being said. I specifically always think of the one scene too, which is kind of weird because it's like literally like it's when Robin's like really pissed off. Like, he shuts me up, man, treats me like a kid. I don't get it. I would just keep going. Yeah. Favorite show. So Avi. And then the other one is also from a show. I gotta see which bag it's in. Is it this one? Yeah. And this one kind of gives me the same, like, it's got a similar personality to the Justice League Tarot, except for that one is more like best friend, while this is more of like your fun fan that could be serious at times, but like it's like the first time I read it, like one of the cards, like the devil came up, and it wasn't like the devil, you know, it was like gimme, you know, or like during the one I just started thinking of music, man, like it's like that fun deck, so it feels very like homey for me, and it's basically decks that have personality kind of feel homey for me. They feel very much friendly, you know. And that's the Future Vision Gem Tarot, which I've done a walkthrough of because it was requested. I feel like the camera is not completely focusing. It's like half focusing. It doesn't want to focus on the cards because the camera hates me. But like, yeah, it's all Steven Universe, and that's a great show. So. The Magician's Paradox, which is my favorite of them. My favorite character. And just, yeah. It's also kind of interesting when you've got, like, a deck like this, because the show's still on, so, like, the characters can, like, further evolve, you know? I guess you could say the same thing about the Justice League, but, like, I feel like they don't evolve as much as, like, the characters for, like, the show. Just because, I mean, they already have kind of, like, their set personalities. They go through stuff, but, like, usually it doesn't change too much unless it's, like, really dramatic. Like, for instance, if you look at the card with Red Hood on it, like, obviously there was some significant changes there when his character got brought back from the dead, but, like, that's a little bit different, I think. But, you know, like, for instance, Lars is the moon, but, like, Lars is going through so much stuff in the show right now, so his character, like, me and my brother, we like his character a lot, and he's, like, you know, like, changing as a person, like, because he's got the whole insecurity thing, and just, yeah, you know, anyway, I'll keep droning on, but, okay, so then the other deck I decided to add in, which is also the next question, too. Let's see what bag's it in, it's in one of the bags, it's not that one. It's not that one, it's this one. And I was thinking if there was any other decks I could put in, and I almost thought the one, but I'm like, no, it doesn't feel homey when I use it though. And I decided to put in the Dreaming Way Tarot in this one. Because I don't know why, but like, first off, it's kind of loud when it wants to be used. And it kind of just, now when I think of it, it kind of makes me think of, like, when I first got it, which I got this deck from my dad, but it kind of makes me think of when I was showing my Nana it, because, like, I don't know why, I just instantly think of when I was over at, like, my Nana and Papa's house, and I was kind of just showing them both the deck, and just sitting at the kitchen table, like, and they're looking through it and stuff, and, like, being like, oh, this is cool looking, you know? So I don't know why, but because it's now making me think of the Click House, it's making me think of Home Sweet Home. Because, you know, like, divorced parents. I mean, who doesn't have divorced parents? with the divorce rates in America. But yeah, like, as a kid, I was very much that kid where I didn't want to go home. I called my Nana Mama too. Because it's like, no, I don't want to go. I want to hang out with Nana and Papa, specifically Nana. So, having a deck that's now making me think of over there, like, makes me think of home, because, like, how Nana Click always says, well, always remember, this is always your second home, so it's kind of making me think of that. And then, the third question is love, belonging, sex, lust, sexy, lusty. What decks would you use for this energy? Well, Well, love and belonging I can do, because sexy and lusty, to be honest, I would not want to give a reading for anyone that's asking about sexy, lusty stuff. Like, love, sure, because I can generalize that, but if anyone's asking me about anything sexy or lusty, I'm gonna be like, I'll probably give in, but yeah, kind of asking the wrong person here. What does lusty mean? Actually, that just makes me think of the lusty Argonian. The Elder Scrolls. So I'm kind of changing the question here. I'm not doing, which it says in the prompt that you can change it. So I'm cutting out the sexy and lusty, dealing more with the love and belonging, but which it's one of the annoying things about like psychology is even when I took sociology, like all of a sudden like we're watching a documentary and it's talking about like the things that like all living beings like want, and it like listed like sex, and like I'm like, you know, and it's like I think I might have been sitting over by the other ace girl, and it's kind of like a it's like if I wasn't watching a documentary I'd be like, yo professor, like that wrong, man. You forgetting us ace folks, specifically the sex repulsed ones. You know, so psychology always freaking deals with the whole sex shit, and it's like, nah, man. We've been around for a while, man. Like, no. So, that's one of the annoying parts when it comes to sociology, psychology, and that kind of stuff. I can already think of, like, for instance, like, Freud always gets mentioned, and it's like, fuck you, Freud. No one likes you, But, yeah, so I'm cutting off those parts, and it's gonna be love and belonging, but more in a generalized and, like, to be honest, more platonic. I don't feel romantic attraction, so for me, love kind of is just love, you know, and for me it's to platonic attraction and stuff, so yeah. Also aesthetic attraction. So I kind of went on more of that view, and I just keep talking. So the decks that I picked out, where'd it go? Oh, I just put it right here. So the first one I instantly thought of with kind of love is the Mythical Cats Tarot, which kind of seems weird when you're thinking of love. The reason is because whenever, it's kind of like with the Dreaming Way, I'm now associating it with a memory. I'm associating this one with a memory, and it's the one day when, actually my one deck didn't want to be read, so I used this one. We were using a bunch of my decks, but this one ended up getting, like, really used. It was just me, my brother, and my friend, our friend Nick. And, like, I remember that the Three of Pentacles came up, you know, and it's kind of like the teamwork, and it's got, like, the three cats, you know, they're going to work together to get the beetle. And we were actually, like, sitting, like, in that position, like it was very mirrored. And so I associate this deck with friendship because it actually makes me think of that, specifically that card from this deck. And so it's got the whole love and belonging. It's just in a platonic and, you know, family kind of way for me. So I'd probably go maybe with that one. I've done, like, love readings before, but I've kind of just grabbed the deck that wants to be read because, like, I don't know what else you want me to do, man. That and the times I have been asked, it's like, yo, man, you need to get you someone better. So then, like, it's kind of like in the same regards, with me thinking of friends, would probably be like the Prismavisions. Oops. And that's like, because it's not too much. I can go with Ben for like anything really. I call him Ben. I give all my decks nicknames. Just, which there's lovers. I can kind of go to it with, like, any kind of question. This is funny, because this is actually the deck that didn't want to be read at the time. Usually it's Jill, though. And this deck actually is a deck that me, my mom, and my friend Nick also have. We got Nick this deck for Christmas. Because it's like their favorite of the decks that I have. And they started to learn how to read tarot. So like obviously we're gonna get them like the deck that they really like. So, you know, it's kind of got that whole like, we all like it. Like my brother really likes it too, but it's just not a deck he'd get. So yeah, Andy, you should get it. Then we'll all have the Prisma Visions. Then me and Mom have the light visions too. But yeah, it's kind of like that connection that I'm thinking of. That, and I can kind of go with him for anything. And then of course, like I already said, Dreaming Way also kind of gives me like a bit of that friendshipy kind of love thing because it's making me think of the Click House. So yeah. Okay, so this is getting long. So level 4 is the Confidence Booster, the Self-Esteem deck. This one is kind of hard because, to be honest, all of them, sometimes when I'm reading and like I'm doing like tags or I'm doing like challenges and I'm reading with the deck, you know, I just kind of pull the deck that I feel, you know, I'm limiting myself to like 10 decks per month. Like you can't use any other decks besides those 10. So I'll pick the one that like I feel like I have to use for that tag or challenge or anything for that day. And a lot of the like sometimes like the deck all of a sudden is just really like, Des, stop being hard on yourself. Like you're good. Like you're gonna get it, man. And then it's like, I don't know where this came from, but thanks, deck. That happens like with a lot of my decks. And I can't even like name them all because like I can't remember which all ones do it because like so many have done it, you know? It's just one of those things. I wrote down a few though that came off from the top of my head. This one was probably this is the first one I wrote down, so nope. Where is it then? They're in identical bags. Both of them. There it is. The first one I'm thinking of is the Tarot, which I love this deck. I have the mini one too. And like this was kind of actually the deck that like really got me to read more intuitively. But I used this one for pretty much almost an entire challenge when I got it because I just love this deck. I should probably use it next month. Make that one of the 10 decks because I miss it. But yeah, like it was very much positive, kind of nice and confidence boosty whenever I was using it for the challenge. So I thought of that one initially. Then I also thought of Guardian Tarot too, because of the readings I had done with it. I haven't really used this one that much. It didn't feel like really the season to use it. But when I have, it's been more of like the kindness going on. So I would probably also go to this one as well if I needed a confidence boost. Then Vintage Wisdom Oracle has also been really nice, kind of confidence-y as well. And then the last one really surprised me. I'm redoing the videos, but the first time I filmed these spread videos, I was doing demonstrations, which I'm still going to, I'll watch the videos again and write down what they all were, my example was, that I did. So, yeah, I used a playing card deck for, I think, 2 of them. And it ended up being, like, really positive, like, don't be so hard on yourself. And I'm like, I was not expecting this. So I instantly thought of that, and it's this playing card deck, which is gilded. I love this. I love this. It's, Phantom of the Opera playing cards, which, let me find, you've got the Opera House Jokers, you've got Eric Jokers, like, unmasked and as the Red Death. Where's the... Okay, so the face cards are all characters like La Colada, the author, Stan Leroux. There's the Inspector, you know, like The Phantom is the King of Hearts, I think. Eric, where are you? Eric! Yeah, he's the King of Hearts. Which Christine's the Queen of Hearts, Earl's the, Jack of Hearts. I don't like him. But yeah, like, this one kind of, surprised me with that, so I thought of that one as well. And so the last question is the higher self. What deck gives high vibrations? And, like, it was kind of hard for me to think. It's more so, I had to think of it more so if I was looking for that, what deck would I go to? Because none of them are really, like, some of them are, like, are otherworldly, like the Shadowscapes, but, like, not really higher vibrations. I think that's partly just how I view tarot decks. I view it more so as I'm reading the message from the decks themselves, not like my higher self or like another being or deity or anything like that. It's from the deck. So I think, like, in the videos, like, well, all of them, so, like, it would be, like, well, all of them, but if I had to do a reading like that, like, for instance, a past life reading, I've done that, for someone, me, my brother, and my mom. So if I was doing something like that, the decks I would go to, I have 2 sets, so there's 4 decks, but it's in 2 sets. So the first set would be the Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot, which it was this one, and then of course Oracle that I used for the past life readings that I did. So this one's very intuitive, pretty spot on, and it just makes sense. So I would go with these 2 as the first set. If it was like, if I was not using an Oracle deck in it, then it would just be the tarot. And then the other set, which is right here, that I would probably use, like, that one would be the one that I use, but I'd also be tempted to probably use the Ophidia Rosa Tarot, because to me this one's also very intuitive, and I love the poems, like the lines and the poem line things in the little booklet. Such a beautiful deck. I love this deck. I didn't think I'd like it as much. Like, I was, like, thinking, oh, it's just gonna be a pretty deck, you know, like, that I'll love. But it's like, ooh, I love this deck. And then the Oracle is, you know, if I'm reading with Oracle and Tarot, I gotta use them both. And then if I was just using Oracle, you know, I'd use that. And then I use the Tarot more just because I use Tarot more. But yeah, like, it's more so me choosing 2 things instead of, like, 4 decks, because they're sets. Gotta go together, man. So, yeah, and my video's about to cut off. So, those are the 5 questions of the hashtag the letter tarot tag from MsTracyTwo. Thanks for the tag. This is a cool one, especially since I'm about to be starting Introduction to Psychology. Like, literally. So, anyway, I'm Des from Aro-Tarot, and I'm logging off.